Hey guys, and welcome back. So in this lesson we're going to discuss conditionals in JavaScript. So conditionals are basically statements that evaluate if a condition is either true or false. They then perform a set of tasks depending on that true or false value. So in JavaScript there are a number of ways in which our program can make these decisions. So we're going to have a look at some now. So let's start with the if statements. So we can perform a task in JavaScript based on a condition using an if statement. Now the syntax for an if statement is as follows. We initialize the if statement by declaring the if keyword, followed by parentheses. Inside the parentheses, we have a condition that will evaluate to either true or false. So we have the condition. Then following the condition is a set of curly braces. And inside these curly braces will be the code that runs or executes the task based on the condition. So let's make our first if statement. First we'll declare a variable, let, and we'll call it isHappy, and we'll give it the value of true. Now to create the conditional, we say if isHappy is equal to true, well then we'll run this code block, and inside this code block we will simply console.log the string I am happy, and you can see that the isHappy variable evaluates to true as we defined up here. Now if we change the value of isHappy to false and then we rerun the if statement, so if we do isHappy is equal to true, then console.log I am happy, we press enter, you can see that nothing is logged to the console, and that's because the value of isHappy is currently false as we changed it to false. Now I'm just going to reassign isHappy back to true. Now there's an easier way that we can check if the isHappy evaluates to true instead of having to write it as isHappy equals true, like so. Alright, instead we can just omit the equals true part and just write it as isHappy, and that evaluates to the same thing. So if we were to rewrite the if statement, we could just say if isHappy, then console log I am happy, and it works exactly the same. And this is known as a truthy value, which we'll discuss later on in another video. I'm just going to clear the console. Now we can also add some other default behavior to the if statement if the condition in the beginning isn't true. So the entire syntax would look like this. If the condition is true, we'll then execute this code. Else execute this code instead. So what this basically means is if the condition in the beginning evaluates to true, well then we execute anything that's inside this code block. Otherwise, if it doesn't evaluate to true, well then we use the else keyword, which will then execute this code inside this block here. So if we take a look, we could declare a variable called isTired, and we'll make that false. We'll then check to see if isTired is true. If it is, well then we'll simply log time to go to sleep. Oops. Time to go to sleep. Then we'll add the else keyword and we'll insert a console.log here which says time to wake up. So what we're basically saying is if the isTired value is true, well then console.log time to go to sleep. Else, if it's not true, console.log time to wake up. So right now the value of isTiled is set to false. So what do you think will be logged to the console? There you go. Time to wake up. Now, sometimes when we write conditional statements, we need to use different types of operators to compare values and then execute a code based on that condition. These operators are known as comparison operators. So here's a list of some comparison operators that you'll use very frequently in your code. So first, I'll just clear the console. So the first one we have is the less than operator, which looks like this. We then have the greater than operator, which is the opposite. We have the less than or equal to operator as follows. We have the greater than or equal to operator. We have the is equal to operator. Is not equal to operator. So we'll take a look at some examples. 50 is less than 100. So here we're using the less than operator to check if the value of 50 is less than 100. Now if this was inside a conditional, this would evaluate to true. The opposite to this is to check if 50 is greater than 100. Now this inside a conditional would evaluate to false. We could also use the less than or equal to. So we could say is 100 less than or equal to 150. And that will evaluate to true because it's less than 150. If we made this 100, it would still evaluate to true because 100 is equal to 100. The same as the opposite for is 100 greater than or equal to 100. This will evaluate to true. If this was to change to 150, well then it would be greater than 100 as it's greater or equal to, so that's true still. But if this became 90, well then this will evaluate to false because 90 is less than 100 and it's not equal to 100. So both become false. We can use the is equal to, so we can check to see if 100 is equal to 100, or even strings, bananas is equal to bananas. And then finally we can do is bananas not equal to cherries. And this will actually evaluate to true because it's saying that the bananas does not equal cherries. It's not the same as cherries. So that means it's true. So we can use this in an example. We could say if bananas is equal to cherries, console.log, they're the same. Oops, they are the same. Else, console.log, they are different. And you can see that they are different gets printed to the console because bananas is not equal to cherries. Now there's another common conditional, and this is known as the else if statement. We use the else if statement if we want to add more than one conditional statement. The else if statement will always come after the initial if statement and before the final else statement. The else if statement also takes in a condition. So we'll have a look at the syntax. So first I'll clear the console. So we begin by initializing the conditional with an if keyword. Then we insert our condition. Then we have the code block that will be executed depending on the condition. Now we insert an else if statement. And this else if statement takes in another condition followed by the block of code. And this would be determined based on the condition of condition 2. Then finally, we add the else keyword, which is the default. And this will be executed if neither of the conditions are met. So that's the syntax for an else if. So we'll look at a real example. So we'll create a variable, let current weather equals hot. So that's the current weather right now. Then we begin with the if statement, and we put the conditional as current weather is equal to cold. So we're checking to see if current weather is equal to cold. If it is, console.log, I will wear a jacket because it's cold. Then we add the else if with the conditional, and the conditional will be current weather is equal to hot. So we're checking to see if the current weather is equal to hot. If it is, we console.log, I will wear a t-shirt. And then finally, we add the else keyword, which is the default, and we will console.log, I do not know what to wear. So if you have a look at this code block, based on the value of current weather, which sentence do you think will get logged to the console? I will wear a t-shirt. And the reason I will wear a t-shirt is logged to the console is because the current weather is equal to hot, and this else if statement is checking whether the current weather is equal to hot. So the else if statement allows us to have multiple possible outcomes. In the if else statements, they're read from top to bottom. So whichever condition evaluates to true, it will have its code block executed. I'm going to clear the console once more. Now another thing that I want to discuss is logical operators. So logical operators play an important role in conditional statements. We can use them to add more sophisticated logic to our conditionals. There are 3 logical operators to be aware of. We have the AND operator, which looks like this. We have the OR operator, which is the 2 pipes. This is usually found above the enter key. And then we have the NOT operator, also known as the bang operator. And that starts with an exclamation mark. So if we have a look at the AND operator, when we use the AND operator, we're checking that more than one item is to evaluate to true. So first we'll declare a variable called day, and we'll give it the value of Sunday. We'll also declare another variable called work to do, and we'll make this equal to none. Then we'll begin the if statement, and we'll check if day is equal to Sunday and work to do is equal to none. So we're basically checking to see if a day is equal to Sunday, and using the AND operator, we're checking to see if work to do is equal to none. So if these 2 conditions evaluate to true, well then we'll console.log enjoy your free time. And we'll finish off with the else statement, and we'll say finish your work. We press enter. Okay, so what's happened here is, and this is going back to a previous lesson with variables, we can see here that work to do is all capitalized, but I declared it as work to and then a capital do. So it's treating it as 2 different variables, and that this variable here is not defined. So if we rewrite and change this to lowercase, like the way we declared, and we press enter, you can see enjoy your free time. So because these two conditionals were met, it executed this block of code. So now I'm going to clear the console. And we can do the same with the OR operator. It will execute the code in the first code block as long as one of the conditions is met. Not both. It's either one or the other. So we'll have a look. Let's first declare a variable, const age equals 22. We'll also declare another variable, const has guardian, and we'll make this false. Now we'll do the if statement, and we'll check to see if age is greater than 18 or has guardian is true. So then we execute the code. So in this code block, it'll be executed if age is greater than 18 or the has guardian value is true. So as we can see here, age is equal to 22. So this is already true. Has guardian, it is asking that has guardian is true, but it's actually false. But it doesn't matter because we're using the OR operator. So this condition is met, which means that this code block here will run. And then we add the else statement. Console.log. You are under age. We press enter. And you can see how can I help you. Now finally, the not operator reverses or negates the value of the boolean. So if we declare a variable, let I am excited, we make it true. We can then console.log I am excited. Now if we console log this, we're going to get true, like so. Now we can do the same thing, but we can add an exclamation mark before the variable, and it will negate or it will reverse the value of the boolean, like so. So now it's false. And we can also use this in conditionals when we need them. So that's all for this lesson. Look forward to seeing you in the next one.